Hello everyone, Aquarium Basics here. I have a very important video for everyone today. And those obviously who know about this, and some people still may want to have some general information, but this is a fight that I have put up with for quite a while, and I just wanted to share my experience with all of it. And so I'm going to get to the point. Alright, so DIY. Certainly there are ways to do things, to set things up yourself, to make things work, especially if you're in an unaffordable situation where you just can't afford some of the things or all the little things that make you get that, filter, and it's only that company that makes it. So, I'm not going to start dogging DIY, okay? But this is my experience, and the name of this video is Filters, Myths, and Facts. Okay, so, first of all, everyone wants to max out their aquarium with as many fish as they can. Very few people can resist the temptation to have 3 or 4 more fish than they really are rated for the tank. So, so that being said, filtration has been a nightmare for me. What you see below here, let me see if I can adjust that a little better for you. What you see below here is the 3 or 4 most recent filters on the bottom there in the plant tray that I've been using. And first of all, to get to them where my tank is located, to get around the back, is not a very convenient place at all. In fact, it's very, very difficult to have the tank under the table. I have it up against the wall so my bunny rabbit won't get behind it. And so the deal is that these little back filters, it was very tough to get back there. I mean, it was not a fun afternoon or morning when when I had to get to change these things. But I still have a lot of information on them, and like I said, trying to make this video 5-10 minutes, no more than that. But the thing is the store, and I mentioned before, the store sells you filters. The companies have only specifically designed filters, and a lot of them don't work very well at all. They might be able to gather bacteria, but right about the time that they're able to really gather the bacteria is right about the time their filter is pretty much clogged. So what you get is this overspill of the filter where most of the debris truly just simply falls over and doesn't really even catch. You might get basically some ammonia, destruction due to bacteria and stuff. But for the most part, as far as sediment goes, those filters do absolutely nothing. And the worst ones are the little mini tanks that you see everywhere, and they have those little, I don't mean to dog the brand, but man, they're bad. And that was my first experience. Was I got a littler tank with one of those, and I don't want to say the brand name, but it's like Whisper or something, and it was so bad. I could see it work for like a turtle or something, but really it's a cheap thing they're selling with the tank. And sadly, most of those tanks are only going to fit those things too. It's very hard to even modify a better filter for them and stuff. So anyway, I actually did that, and on the left there you'll see that on the left is a it's a National Geographic, and I actually did, somehow I could squeeze it on the back top of this little 6-gallon I bought from Walmart, and it worked. I mean, it had to carry the water up a little higher because it wouldn't sit down all the way on it. I could kind of jam it on there. And you would have to fill it up every time you stopped it because all the water would go out and stuff. But it did work, and it allowed me to keep a little bit better filtration from the 6-gal. But that's right about the time I moved up. Got a 20, and then, then added 2 filters because I was running too many fish. And so, it was really still a tough thing. And then what I ended up doing is I got the 30-gal, which you see on the side there. And the 30-gallon has really worked out well. I did a video on how well I think the 30-gallon is a very appropriate tank for people. But anyway, one thing I can say is that, these filters, they kind of work. They do the job. And one thing you're seeing in the middle there is something I really wanted to at least turn people on is the shower poof. The shower poof that you see at Walmart or wherever, for $1, $2, You know, make sure you don't get one that has soap in it already and stuff like that. But, you know, and I would still even wash the daylights out of the one you get that doesn't even have anything in it. But you cut them open, you cut them up, and actually it makes an incredible filter. I mean, if you don't have, you know, what I'm about to talk about, which is the canister filter, but, you know, if you're sitting with these backsplash deals, this stuff is amazing. Okay, it will save your life as far as having to buy, you know, lots and lots of filters, you know, and they just don't even work anyway, and your tank's cloudy, and it's just stirred up all the time, and just gets worse and worse until you have to vacuum the bottom, and every time you turn them on and off, huge amount of discharge comes out that just, you know, just huge amount of sediment just pours right out of them as you turn them on, just, you know, and if you're really a bright aquarium owner, you know, you're going to turn them off to feed your fish. So that's a big deal, is that when you're turning them back on and having that huge flood of debris coming back in. But this stuff really will kind of save you. It's a good one. So I almost want to put this on the label of the video, you know, shower proofs. But unfortunately, this video has morphed into something more than that. And, oh, and real quick with the shower proofs, though, the only thing you got to consider is that you can't pack them in there all the way up. You know, that what happened to me is one day I realized that I had taken a couple months without really cleaning it out. And I just was actually trying to see how long I could go. But it dawned on me that the water was starting to kind of get to the top of the filter, and it was coming out kind of the front end. You'll see that sometimes with the area where the, you know, the hose is, it pulls the water up. You'll see a little trickle coming out of it and stuff. But it dawned on me that it had gone a little bit over the back, and I lost about a gallon onto the carpet, and oh God, don't let my landlord see that. So anyway, I cleaned it up, no harm done, you know. But it was enough to realize this ain't what I'm doing here. I'm not going to spend my life trying to monkey with this crap anymore. I mean, you know, you want to focus on your fish and taking care of your fish, not having to be burdened by these chores of this ridiculous contraption stuff. So, like I said, you know, they work, kind of. But here's what's interesting, is what you see behind me, or behind it, is it is a National Geographic canister filter rated for 80 gallons. Why would you get 80 gallons? Why would you get 30? You know? If you have the option to get the 80 gallon, which if you were going to sell it, for instance, and someone said, well, I have a 55, you know, a 30 is not enough. You get the 80 because it makes no difference on the small end. The only thing on the small end is if you had a real small space and someone was really trying to be efficient with their space. Because, I mean, and maybe I just lucked out because this thing was on sale from 150 down to 100. So I went ahead and got it because it was like, wow, you know, that's pretty good. I could almost sell this thing and get next to what I paid for it. So it's amazing. And actually, believe it or not, I tucked a little bit of this shower poof into the canister filter. I tucked just a little bit up above each rock bed. It comes with these bio rocks, basically. And so, you know, what that's going to do is create just a littlest bit of, you know, biofilter that's going to catch things. You know, the rocks they are going to catch stuff, but just not quite as good. They're going to break around. And so I just, no, and keep in mind, I did not stuff it either. I mean, I just put the littlest layer because I really do still believe on this showerproof thing. So anyway, what I'm getting at, though, is that between the filters that you're seeing below and all of the filter mediums that I've bought and filter mediums I've bought, like the Flavel sponge crap, and I've bought that trying to make them work better, and it still doesn't work. It just does nothing. The filter polishers, Flavel, does nothing. You cut it up, and now you got little micro hairs everywhere in your tank because you cut up the Flavel. I mean, you know, it is what it is, you know. I mean, when the water tutorial, some people do use peat moss. That's about the only thing I could say is actually worthwhile. And now this video is getting into 10 minutes, but I gotta keep it going. And I think, you know, this is a good video for someone to watch. If you're getting into this, it makes a good point. And the point is that with the filters below and the one or two other filters I've bought also, and all their little filter cartridges, and even a couple Airstone bubblers, thinking that might help with aerating or getting the water, it's costed well over $100. I mean, well over. I mean, maybe like 200 or God, I don't want to say 300, but honest to God, I have spent well over $200 on the 3 or 4 little $20 filters. Because when you consider what goes into them, and dead fish. I mean, if you consider to the fish dying, I mean, you know, you don't have a very good filter system. The fish are dying, you know. So, and that, I want to see a clean tank. I mean, I've got a planted tank, but, you know, I don't want to see a boggy, you know, foggy looking thing that you see a lot of them. You know, you see an incredible aquascape, but it's got dirty, cloudy water, and it's like, who really wants that? You know, I want to see the plants. I want it to be clear. And, you know, you do have to add some minerals. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that this canister filter was half the price of the back filters when all is said and done. And they are a huge pain in the rear. They take an unbelievable amount of dedication to deal with them, especially if they're in a difficult place. They have the possibility of leaking, and, you know, so, I mean, if you have a brand new floor and you just bought your own home or something, my God, I mean, if this leaked and dropped a gallon onto your brand new wood floor, it could ruin it. You know, or you're renting, or worse, you're setting up someone else's aquarium and charging them money, and then suddenly, you know, something like that happens. I mean, how bad would that be? And so, you know, the hard thing about this video is all the professionals know this. Every one of you guys out here that is trying to look at this, that actually already knows what I'm talking about, you know. What I'm getting at is the people like me that were kind of medium. I was getting into being serious. I was buying, you know, obviously National Geographic, some higher level stuff. I almost doubled the rate that I even needed for the filtration. But I still just, you know, I was piecing stuff together, and I understand, because God, it's hard to come up with $100 versus the $20, even if next week you're paying 20 more for those filters. I mean, you know, it's the American way. I mean, it's so sad, but we're all burdened with this pay as you go and end up with the lowest quality. So, I mean, I'm not here for National Geographic. Honestly, I'm not. I mean, had that not been on sale, I would have gotten a different one. I would have gotten any one that was the cheapest one, rated for that, and I knew I could modify it. Even the girl at PetSmart, she said that a lot of people even put peat moss in it. I'm a big believer in peat moss. I haven't tried that yet because I don't necessarily want to put anything in there that could potentially get into it and clog it up either. So, you know, I'm trying to keep it running smoothly for a long period of time, so I'm not necessarily into jamming it full of peat moss and stuff like that. So, but, you know, here's what I'm getting at is that, you know, I'm here to tell you myths and facts. The fact is, in my opinion, you almost need a canister filter for any size aquarium. I mean, go ahead, you know, Dustin's Fish Tanks. I'm not dogging you, man, because you have taught me a lot, but, you know, there is no comparison to this. And reality is, those side filters, they kept me in a real tough place for a long time, and they cost me, I want to say double. You know, I don't want to say triple, but honest to God, double. Those little side filters, as cheap as they are, 22, 31, 17, pack of filters for 14. I mean, it just adds up like you wouldn't believe. And then what happens if you ruin your floor? So, okay, I'm starting to kind of get a little too into this, and I think coming at 15 minutes here. So I got 30 seconds to come up on this. And that's just that myths and facts. You know, you get what you pay for. Sometimes you even pay less for something quality if you're willing to buy it. And just remember that, you know, all those little things they sell, those companies do set out to kind of get you on this little payment plan of what you need. And so at least one of the myths is you can use the shower poof, which works incredible for that. But still, I took it a step up. I bought the canister filter. You're looking at an 80-gallon filter for a 30-gallon tank, and it is working so good. I mean, it is working. Now, the only one last thing is that it did heat up the water a little more, because I'm assuming like that it was. I'm assuming it was, it was the pump running, and in a canister filter, the pump tends to probably be a little bit bigger. It's got a little more heat to it. So, the canister filter, especially since the water wasn't splashing over the sides and losing some of that heat, I did notice my water was a little hot for a day, and I'm going to say it right now, a fish died. So that was pretty disappointing right when I first got it, because I was expecting just how great this would be, and then a fish died. And I figured out it was the temperature. I put my hand in it and realized it was a tad over lukewarm, and so yeah, it wasn't CO2, it wasn't anything else, wasn't the hardness of the water, it was straight water temperature. So be careful on that. If you get the canister filter, maybe kill your heater for a little while and just see, or knock your heater down. I have my heater down on 68 now or something like that. So I've just noticed that, it's running warmer. Maybe in the winter I'll kick it up a bit. But all right, so great. Aquarium basics, filters, myths, and facts. All right, great. You have a great day.